towards more of the sky, this dark being with black wings just coming out. I'm looking at the being, and I remember saying like, "Oh, you look ugly." Like I would say things like that, you know. And I remember the being smirked and started coming towards me, and it's trying to touch my hand. And all of a sudden, from the sides, the leaves break open, and the light comes and burns the hand of this dark being, and then it leaves.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Learning to Love Well. On my couch today, I have my good friend Rei. Hey, Rei.
Hey.
Just a disclaimer, we are at my house with my 3 kids, and so there might be interruptions, there might be a baby popping in and out, and there might be sound in the background, but just stick with us and ignore the distractions. Rei, can you please introduce yourself a little bit to the people listening?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be a part of your podcast.
So crazy you're here.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Well, my name is Rei. I'm originally from Okinawa, Japan. From a very tiny, small island, dreamed about going big, somewhere big, and now live in Northern California.
Another really small.
Another small community, which I love and we'll get into. I've been an insurance agent for a little while and now no longer, and I currently work at a Christian school as a secretary and teaching Japanese there as well, which actually that chapter is going to end in June.
Wow.
But yeah, and I'm waiting for the Lord to come through and embark on another exciting journey.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing. But yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah.
And you regularly lead worship at church.
Yes.
That's a big part of your life,
It is.
which is really amazing, but we'll talk more about that. Can you tell us a little bit about the story of your mom trying to get pregnant with you?
Oh, yes. I recently had to refresh my memory. I was like, Mom, what was the story again? And after she was 17 when she got married to a 26-year-old. She had my my older brother at 18. No siblings before, in between, or after us. It's just the 2 boys. And after she waited 10 years because she was like, I don't want this really close in range. So funny in your case.
Yeah.
But she was like, no, I don't want any siblings super close. 10 years later, she tried to get pregnant, but she had PCOS. And
So she was around 28 at this point. Okay.
And then she couldn't because of the PCOS. And so there were all these complications. She was taking meds, stopped. She's like, you know what? Never mind. And
So she was taking meds to try to get pregnant, to try to solve the issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
But after a little while, she was at a church doing kids ministry and saw the kids and had this whole remembering the promise that God gave her, which was, you will have 2 kids. And she's like, well, Lord, where's my second one? And she was like, you know what? Maybe I'll go back to the doctor. Medicine has evolved by now. Let's see what that looks like. And did an ultrasound and found out that I believe it was 2 months pregnant with me.
She was already pregnant.
Yeah,
it
she
was
was
like the
already
Lord
pregnant.
actually was dropping that in her mind.
And she did have morning sickness, so she didn't know that it was until she went in and kind of found out and was like, oh, well, here's my...
That's wild.
Yeah, my child.
Miracle baby.
Yes. I did talk to her about a little bit more within the pregnancy that she would get voices to be like, stab the baby, kill the baby, like things like that in her pregnancy that she didn't experience with my brother.
Wow.
And she, of course, dedicated me like in the womb, kind of thing. It was just a whole aspect of...
Like it was like spiritual warfare was happening over you since you were so little, or since you were in your mom's belly. The enemy wanted to take you out.
I would definitely say so.
Wow.
And it's a miracle that I'm alive in many different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So take us to the first time that you realized that God was alive and real in your life.
Yes. I accepted Christ when I was about 4.5, I believe. I remember it was at the house my parents still live in, and it's in the kitchen. My mom kneels down near the benches, and she's like, Ray, do you want to accept Christ? And this was one of those rare moments that you can actually say no if you wanted to. But And I was like, yes. Like, I couldn't say no. I don't want to say
Did
like,
you want to say no?
I wanted to take the opportunity to say no
Oh,
because I don't ever get to, you know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, this is my rare opportunity. I totally can. If I wanted to. I don't want to say like it's the spirit like forced me to do anything. It's
Yeah.
not like that at all,
Yeah.
but it was my spirit really wanting, my own spirit wanting this in my life. And I said yes. And I was like, you know, and we prayed and I was like, wow, nothing changed, obviously, you know, just okay.
Yeah.
A few months later, I don't know how long, but I was in kindergarten and we were playing, my friends and I were playing in the trees, like playing tag or something. Yeah, great place to be playing tag in a tree. Right? Accident waiting to happen. But we were all up in there and there were, I kid you not, I'm pretty sure there were 5 other kids that, as far as I remember, up in the tree. All of them disappear. I can't hear them. I don't see anybody else. I don't see the teacher. I don't see anybody on the playground. And it's, you know, a little bit significantly larger playground for a 4.5-year-old, 5-year-old. And I'm like, where is everyone? And the trees also stopped moving, like frozen in time. And I was on one of the larger branches, I guess. And I see towards more of the sky, this dark being with black wings just coming out. It looked almost like it came out of a portal.
Whoa.
Random, I know.
No.
And
But with you're seeing this with your this is all
this
happening
is all
in the physical.
In the physical.
You're seeing the playground, you're seeing the tree,
Yeah.
everything stopped, everyone else is gone, and
Yeah.
this dark being
Yeah.
comes
comes out of nowhere. I don't know what's going on. And, you know, I've seen cartoons and stuff, and I'm thinking maybe I'm imagining this, but I remember feeling my hair's all up down my spine. Everything is standing up. I am in fear. I've never experienced that until that point. And I'm looking at the being, and I remember saying, like, oh, you look ugly. Like, I would say things like that, you know? And I remember the being smirked and started coming towards me. Like, the wings are not flapping. It's literally just like a ghost type kind of coming in and try to touch my hand. I was kind of like knelt down holding the branch that I was on because, you know, I'm pretty high up for, like, if I fell from this, I would
hurt yourself.
I would definitely be hurt. Like, I
Yeah.
have to, be careful. And it's trying to touch my hand. And all of a sudden, from this side, the trees, the leaves break open, and the light comes and burns the hand of this dark being, and then it leaves.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, trees, I hear the wind, the trees are moving, I hear the voices of the kids, and I'm like, what was that? I have no idea. And I just went down the tree and acted like nothing happened.
So what was your thought process of that? Like what did you think those things were after
That it was a demon.
So you knew that you had a concept of demons and angels at that point because you grew up in church.
Yeah, I grew up in church, so I already knew about those things. I've never heard of this kind of encounter. You know, again, I'm 5 years old.
Right.
At that point, most likely.
It's not like you were overhearing anybody talking about anything like this. You hadn't seen anything like this on TV.
No.
You just have this experience. But in your mind, you knew that was darkness. And did you feel like it was Jesus or God or?
I felt it was, yes. I don't know how to describe it, but I really felt that it was Holy Spirit that came and burned the hand of this being. And it, to kind of like, don't touch this kid kind of thing.
Yeah, the protection of your life from obviously from a young age, from the womb. He has been there. So did you try to tell your parents about this?
I did. I told my mom, I'm sure, that day. And, you know, I think my mom, in recent years when we rehashed the whole episode, she was like, this is too much in detail to be made up. And his story continuously does not change. It's constant.
Yeah.
So it can't be made up. There's something did happen.
Yeah.
but I'm sure she believes me.
How did she walk you? Did she walk you through that? Did you
Yeah.
feel alone in that?
She
Okay.
definitely was like prayed over me. Like she's super good at that kind of stuff. She was like, no weapon formed against my son shall prosper. Like,
Okay.
just going
Yeah.
into,
Yes. That's amazing.
yeah, total scripture. I mean, she's a woman on fire, for
Yeah.
God. It's amazing.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
very blessed to have my parents,
Yes.
walk me through these things.
Yeah. Tell us about the encounter that you had with your grandmother. It was your mom's mom.
Yes. So this is fast forward to I was 18. This is 2012. My grandma on my mom's side died on October 30th on her birthday. She was 74.
wow.
Yeah, she died on her birthday. We were in the hospital room. She was in and out of hospitals all her life. Like she has brain damage. Like there's all sorts of stuff. Like at the end of it, she didn't really remember who I was. She kept calling me like Hiroshi, and I was like, "Who's that?" I have no idea who you're talking about. Oh, and then in her final days, she went into a coma. I think 24, 48 hours before she passed, and she was in a different room. They were checking up on her, and the nurse is like massaging her feet because it's getting cold, and you can tell that the body is shutting down. It's like, oh, like I think her time is coming up. The nurse is saying, we're like, she's ready to go home. She needs to go home. And then all of a sudden, the three of us were there, my dad, my mom, and I, and praying over her and for comfort and for peaceful departure. And I saw the corner of my eye, this angel pacing outside in the hall, waiting for her. And I'm like, oh, it's happening. This is the last day that I get to see her. Wow, I'm like getting teary. I don't know. I felt like it was so sweet that I was able to see this final moment, because this woman suffered. She went through the war, it was quite a bit that she had to serve. She was a survivor. She was such a tough nail, like just so feisty. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Nothing bothered her. And here she is on her final days, and I get to see a angel like waiting for her to take her up,
And you were seeing this again with your physical eyes.
Yeah, this is not a vision or anything, but it's more like in the corner of your eye kind of thing, which I believe that because we're fallen beings and we need to be redeemed because of Adam and what happened, that we used to be able to see these things. And now, because we're in a fallen world, we can't anymore. And sometimes
you get glimpses.
Yeah, there's glimpses that happen, and typically it's in the corner of the eye. I don't know how much people want to believe that, but it's almost unexplainable why we can see certain things in like the about to fall asleep moments. And but it was more of the corner of the eye. It's not like I'm straight on looking, but I can see this angel pacing, as I'm looking at grandma, and I'm like, why is there this light going back and forth pretty fast as well too? They're like, yeah.
You saw the angel, and how much longer was it that she passed away?
The next morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You and I met at Bethel's School of Supernatural Discipleship, BSSD. How do you get from Okinawa, Japan to middle of nowhere, Humboldt County, California? How old were you?
I was 18 when I applied, and I turned 19 right away. And then
That is wild.
2 days later, I was in the U.S.
Okay. So tell us about, how did you find it? How did you get there?
I was going to a youth group when I was 13, 14, and the youth pastor took me home. That just one day they drove me home. And in that car ride, there was this music that was playing that they played. And I was like, who is this lady who's singing? And what's this song? And they told me. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't write it down.
Kim Walker-Smith?
I didn't write it down. And then I was like, okay. And then totally forgot about it. Fast forward 2-3 years later, I'm at a church. Again, this is a Japanese church that I'm going to with my friend, and my friend's mom is the pastor. And we're cleaning the church on a Saturday, and he plays, music so we can clean to it. Same song comes out, and I'm like, oh, who is this person? I know this song. What is happening? Like, what's going on? He said, it's Revelation song by Kim Walker Smith.
Oh, wow.
Of course, it's
It
before
actually
Smith.
was.
Yeah, it was. That's why I was like,
Sorry,
don't ruin
I ruined
it.
your story. That's what I'm here for. Wow.
And I was like, who is this woman? And it's like, oh, and then Jesus culture, Bethel, and all of that I got exposed to. And our church was the first church in Okinawa to host a BSSM team from Reading to come. There were 4 of them who came, and I got exposed to that, and like fire tunnel. And I was starting to develop hugely about the prophetic, as much as so little information that we had about, but I latched onto it. And then I was like, I see things. When I ask for a vision, it happens, and then I see it.
It's like something that was always happening your whole life. So there's other people experiencing this.
Yes.
There's teaching on this, and you were hungry for that because you're
Yes.
like, this is amazing. There's so much more. I want more of this.
Yeah.
So then when did you hear about the school? Well, I guess you
Well,
heard
that
about
was when,
BSSM.
yeah,
So
I
you
heard
wanted to go
about
to BSSM, of course. We all
Well,
did.
Well, I didn't apply to BSSM because I was still 17 at that time. I
Okay.
didn't graduate. So I was a junior. And then I went into senior in high school. The BSSM team came for the second time. And
Oh,
that's when I was
okay.
like, oh, is it too late to apply? I think it was like April or May.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm going to apply. So I did. And I got the email of rejection.
Yeah. Dun, dun,
And then,
dun.
dun, dun, dun. And then I was so upset. But guess who was more upset than me? My mom. Like she was livid.
This
was
is my
so-
perfect
yeah.
son in whom I'm well pleased. Do they know who he is?
Literally, she was like, and then we didn't know anything about BSSD. We never heard of it.
Yeah.
And from the website, oh my gosh, the website,
The website
was
so bad.
horrible.
It was so bad.
And it made it feel like, they didn't say this, but it made it feel like it was a rehab school. Like someone who was like going through drug rehab would go. And I'm like, I've never done drugs in my life. You know,
Yeah.
like I have no idea what you're talking. I've never smoked, never done. I'm so confused.
You're like, I've been in church my whole
Yeah,
life.
literally, I was born in the pew. You know, like, what are you talking about? It was so confusing. Basically emailed back saying like, why do I have the pleasure to go to your rehab school? You know, this kind of thing, in your reject school. And Kathy Valentin responds.
So
to
Kathy
me
Valentin,
directly.
for those of you that don't know,
Yeah.
Bethel Church in Reading, where the school BSSM, the ministry school, resides. The 2 lead pastors are Chris Valentin and Bill Johnson. So Chris Valentin's,
He was the co-founder of BSSM, and his wife was she was the one who handled all the international students. So that's
Oh,
why
interesting.
but
Okay.
she didn't have to respond to me.
right?
It could have been any of her staff,
Yeah.
you know, and she said, no, we prayed and we feel that you're supposed to go to BSSD. And after that, I was like, okay, that's how can you argue to that?
Right.
You know, you were about to put yourself under their
Right.
authority and honor them and what they're going to say. It's like, what is it for me to all of a sudden be like, oh, I don't believe you. Like you're,
Right.
you know, you're wrong.
Yes.
Even though I was right about to like go under them
Right.
and receive everything that they had.
Yeah.
And yet I'm not willing to be obedient.
You
And
trusted
when
them
I-
enough
right.
to go sit under their teaching, but
Yeah.
how could you? You had to
Right.
also trust them and where they
Yes.
felt like you were supposed to be.
Because that's just double standard and being fake if you know,
Yeah.
didn't. So, but I'm still upset. My mom's even more upset. You know, she's on the side, totally like crying and like I'm like, okay, I'm not that, I'm not that upset. But I went on a camping trip. I hate camping for all of you.
Yeah. Same.
I went for love. So with my dad, my brother, and his son, so my nephew and I. So the boys' trip, we went to, you know, on the island somewhere in the beach. I mean, it was, you know, there was showers and...
You were glamping.
Yeah, we were glamping. That was not really camping, but that was the extent that I'm willing to go to, you know.
Yeah, same.
5-star hotel.
Yeah.
So we're there, and again, I'm still upset.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to have a good time with them, but 18-year-old me upset.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the ocean, and all of a sudden I see this vision. Totally no appointment. Like I didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm in this open vision of this leaf blowing in the wind. And this leaf was green. It was not a like brown, autumn leaf at all. It was a green leaf and blowing in the wind. And then the wind stopped, and then, it falls like a leaf does on the ground. And then the wind comes from a different side and picks up the leaf and goes for a little bit, and then the wind stops and then falls. What does this mean? Like, I'm like upset. I'm like, what? Okay. And Holy Spirit's like, you are the leaf and I'm the wind. Well, thanks a lot, Sherlock. Like, what do you mean? What are you trying to say? Like don't play games. I'm just really upset.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just have an interesting relationship with Holy Spirit in that, at that time, trying to be honoring, but I'm still being, total teenager.
Yes.
And he's like, you need to stop growing legs and walking in the direction I used to blow you in. You need to let me blow you to the direction I want you to go in. And I was like in such authority, he was like scolding me in love. And I was like, it really freaked me out.
Took you back.
Yeah, it took me back. Like I was like, and I started crying, like tear falling down, all this, and then realizing if I'm willing to submit to what, BSSM was supposed to give me, and they're telling me to go to BSST, I need to be okay with it and go to BSST and be obedient. This is about obedience.
Yeah.
And Jesus says in John 14, I believe, it's like, if you love me, you'll obey me.
Yeah.
And it's coming to rubber meets the road moment. Are you going to do that? So I was like, okay. We applied. We got onto the horrendous, Facebook page that we had. Already it was like fighting tooth and nail. It was so difficult to get to California to begin with already.
And your mom is American and your dad is Japanese. So you have dual citizenship.
Yes, I do.
So you're able to move without that process.
Yeah, I was born U.S. citizen, so I have, I can live wherever in the U.S.
Okay, so you are in grade school. Your dad changes.
Yeah, it becomes a disciplinary, because it's all about grades. Wherever I go, my dad was president of a medium-sized company with I think 30 to 50 people, especially the business realm. They know who he is. And he, he's a strong character himself, Wherever I go, it's like, oh, you're Mr. Fujita's son. They didn't know my name. They didn't care. It doesn't matter. And I'm not going to blame them. I understand. But as a kid, you're constantly under your dad's shadow. Constantly.
And there's a lot of pressure there to perform, to be a certain way.
And because I spoke fluently English and Japanese, it's even more pressure, because they're like, oh, you're capable. But I'm like, having a golden child syndrome, for those who may or may not know, with that, there's just a lot of pressure when you are somewhat capable and people have that expectation. And they're not trying to be mean. They're not trying to pressure, but you put that on yourself because you hear it so many times. Like, oh, you do such a great job. You are going to be this. You're going to be that.
Yeah. And so you started struggling sort of with perfectionism, with pressure, with in putting pressure on yourself, like you're saying. That's the lie that you adopted, is that you need to live up to some standard. Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're going to take over, your dad's company. I didn't want to do that. Yeah. I'm not even, I'm like, it's easier to count from the bottom of the class to get to where I am, for grade wise. And you see the reality of your capability versus the expectation. Yeah. And there's a huge gap, and that starts putting pressure. And I'm like, I'm not known, I'm not seen, nobody knows, and I have to lift this up.
And you don't feel good enough. No. Ultimately.
Yeah. Which is what the lie comes to. It's like, you're not good enough. Yeah. And the enemy is so unfair, obviously, gets you young.
Yeah. And he comes with an accusing voice. Absolutely. He comes with twisting the truth and planting those lies. And tell us a little bit about your peers.
Yeah. I was somewhat chubby. I wasn't fat, but again, if you ever seen any Japanese kids, they're like twigs, so compared to them, I am absolutely my bone mass is larger. I have some mixed blood. I'm not pure Japanese. So I have some European blood, and I just don't fit in completely. And I have a, big personality. Everybody knows. They're like, yeah, you don't have to. Yeah. Anyways.
You don't have to tell that to anybody.
So I'm trying to fit in a way, but can't. Quite literally, physically cannot, because I don't look like them.
You stick out.
Yeah, I absolutely stick out. I speak 2 languages fluently. I don't, I'm big personality. I don't fit in many different ways. Around 5th or 6th grade, I hit puberty. I started puberty very young, like maybe 11, 10 and a half, 11. And my body started to change. And I realized that because I don't fit in, I wanted to be liked by everyone. And I see the popular guys and what they're doing, right? And, well, obviously boys, because we're all 10 and a half, 11 years old. And realizing, oh, I'm not like them. I wish I was like them. But wait a second, I don't fit in. Remember, like, I don't look like them. I don't fit in.
Yeah.
So what is the best next thing is, like, to be next to them. This started to spiral. And again, the enemy is so not fair. You're going through puberty. You don't know what is happening to your body.
Right.
You just want to be loved. And here he is kind of being like, oh, I need to change how I am so I can be next to them. So it becomes going more towards having same-sex attraction, even though it's kind of like putting that puberty and that change that's happening in your body, chemically speaking, and like attaching it to this lie.
This new like change in identity.
Yeah. And being like, you need to be more feminine so you can be next to them. And I was already a flamboyant kid. I took ballet, when I was 4 to 8, and people would call me things like, you're a lady boy, stuff like that. You're
So
gay.
those things are already being planted.
Right.
Plus the fact that you're just different anyways. Like you're everybody's doing well in math, but you're the creative one.
Right.
You're you express yourself in a different way. And so instead of embracing that about yourself, the way God made you, you started believing like that wasn't good enough, or you needed to change something about yourself.
Right.
How did your relationship with your dad play into that so from that, I'm imagining you started acting out in different ways or changing things about yourself.
Yeah,
what did that look like?
I don't fully recall these certain episodes or anything, but they're starting to be more of a clash because my dad is working he's an extremely hard worker. I love him for all that he did.
Yeah.
But he's stressed, like overworked, and he's trying to be somewhat supportive, but I see this very stressed and upset man, and I was like, I don't want to be that kind of thing.
Yes.
They're starting to having this clash in reality.
Okay. Why?
Because I'm this somewhat feminine individual.
That's kind of what I'm wondering. Yeah. So like you felt like you weren't loved for who you were.
No, because there was, I don't fit in this mold.
Yeah.
This perfect child. Remember the golden child who can do this, that, and the other, and also who's masculine. You're going to be a great husband. You're going to be a great dad, and you're going to be this, that, and the other. You're going to do this. Nothing. They never put pressure on me. I do want to be very clear about that. They never did that. Where did I get that from? It's like, this is where I feel like the enemy is just so unfair.
Yes.
Like twisting my parents' word,
Yes.
twisting the words of other people in my head to keep at it.
Yeah.
Well,
all of these lies started from when you were younger.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're getting bullied at school. You're feeling different. Just like you're comparing. All of those little seeds are planted in your brain. So then when we start believing lies, we start actually seeing through those lies. And so regardless of how other people might actually even be treating us, we are perceiving it in a way. You're looking through the lens of rejection. You're looking through the lens of I'm not good enough. So maybe even if your dad didn't do the wrong thing in a moment, maybe it would have felt different to your brother because he's looking through different lenses. You're looking through these lenses. And so this is your reality.
Yeah.
That you're feeling rejected, not loved, not good enough, which is so sad because you're so amazing. And I'm sure you were so cute and just all the things.
Or
Tell us about how you got breakthrough in these lies, because you started to believe that you needed to be more feminine. You needed to be a certain way to be liked and accepted. And you started taking on these characteristics in your personality that were not yourself. And you started struggling with same-sex attraction. Was it one breakthrough that you had in all of that stuff? What did that walking that out look like? Hey everyone, this is Brittany. I hope that you are enjoying Rei's episode so far. We decided to make it into a 2-part episode, so please come back next week for part 2, where Rei tells some very vulnerable and compelling stories of breakthrough church hurt and the power of forgiveness.